The A1 Great North Road. For most of its length, 380 miles from London to Edinburgh, it's now a motorway, or at least a fast dual carriageway. But amongst regular A1 users, there's one short stretch of the road about 25 miles north of London, which is notorious for accidents and delays. It's 1¼ miles of narrow, twisting, old-fashioned road near Hatfield called Digswell Hill. Here, at times, the traffic slows to a crawl, or even stops altogether. But now, at last, the engineers and planners are moving in. This dangerous section of road is to be replaced by a motorway. The bulldozers and grabs have already arrived on the site. They're moving thousands of tons of earth to make way for the new road. But as always with road building schemes, the motorist's gain is the householder's loss. Several houses will have to come down, and one in particular, this 17th century cottage, is of historic interest. But the owner of this cottage has decided that he's not going to sit back and see the old place destroyed forever. He can't move the motorway, but he can move the cottage. And that's exactly what 25-year-old Peter Fowler has decided to do. Together with a collection of friends and helpers, he's taking his cottage apart, brick by brick, beam by beam. The team has been told by the road builders that they have only 3 more weeks to remove the cottage. After that, the bulldozers will move in and do the job for them. So Peter Fowler has given up his job, and with his helpers he's working throughout every available hour of daylight. Each brick, and some are more than 300 years old, is carefully dislodged, and then scraped clean. Each beam is marked so that the whole cottage can be reassembled in exact detail on a new site. But why go to all this trouble just to save one cottage?
I think this building's of interest locally, historically. It's also obviously about 300 years old. As you can see, the timber frame dates back to about that time. The brickwork is Elizabethan, although they might have been incorporated at a later stage. And I feel that this particular building was well worth saving from the bulldozer.
Is it going to be easy to restore the building exactly as it was before you pulled it down?
This remains to be seen, of course. The timber work, which is the main construction of the building, will have to all be carefully marked. And reassembly might be difficult because of the state of some of the timbers. But I'm fairly hopeful that most of the oak will be okay to reinstate.
And is it your plan to try and reinstate it almost exactly as it is now, without any renovations at all?
Well, being a purist as far as these buildings go, yes, the answer is certainly yes.
Despite Peter Fowler's enthusiasm, it's by no means certain that he'll be allowed to rebuild the cottage. No matter that it's 300 years old, if he wants to put it up somewhere else, it'll be technically and legally regarded as a brand new building. As such, it would have to conform to modern building regulations. But it has no damp course, no proper fireproofing. The windows are too small and the ceilings are too low. And those are just a few of the problems. And in any case, Peter Fowler wants to resurrect his cottage on the Greenbelt. And according to the Hertfordshire County Council, permission to build on the Greenbelt is only granted under very special circumstances. And Peter Fowler's may well not be special enough. If that's the case, what then?
I think that's the $60,000 question. I think I'll just have to wait until a council is willing to adopt a scheme where a building like this can be erected again in the same way that it was originally built.
But if that doesn't happen, what do you do in the meantime? Do you just store all this in your back garden?
No, not in my back garden, but they will be stored, yes.
Do you have any general views about the situation of somebody like yourself in this position and the possibility that the law might prevent you from doing what you want to do?
I hope that in the future, with new road schemes and with new building projects that are constantly going on, that local councils, county councils, and even possibly a lead from a high level will enable this type of building to be saved.
Peter Fowler's cottage has stood for more than 300 years. But it seems ironic that it might now be lost forever just because it can't meet the requirements of our 20th century building regulations.